Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Living Well with Terrell, the place where we develop the mind, soul, and the body on a communal level. And today we're going to be talking about the aspect of the mind because I'm actually going to be doing my second ever story time with a little bit of a reflection. You know how we do it. But the first thing first, before we get into this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, and comment, and share a similar experience or your opinion with me. If you don't know, we're doing a giveaway. At 2,500 subscribers, I will be giving out 5 head wraps. If you're not familiar with the head wraps, be sure to check out my head wrap tutorial video. I'll leave that link down below. Let's get started into the video. Okay, so this video is going to be about the time I actually ended up getting arrested. And it's going to be about how oftentimes we try to get too caught up in being the good guy or not putting ourselves first. And sometimes that can backfire on us. So I think this was actually in December of 2020. So this was about roughly a year ago from now. It was my senior year of college, and it was a little bit after finals. So everyone was at my place. It was my roommate, and this story is going to consist of me and a friend. But for personal reasons, confidentiality, we're gonna call this friend Jonathan. We were all hanging out. We had a little, kind of like a gathering at my place. So we had food, we had drinks, and then, obviously, if you smoke, people were smoking there. So everyone was chilling, everything was cool. And when everything started to die down, one of my very close friends at the time, like one of my very best friends, Jonathan, he was like, man, Terrell, yo, we should go get some Insomnia Cookie. And if you don't know what Insomnia Cookie is, it's this amazing cookie joint, and it stays open pretty late. So we would go there a lot. Me, Jonathan, and my roommate, we would go there a lot. But my roommate, he was with his girl, so me and Jonathan decided to go. Now, Jonathan, I had been drinking because I'm more so of a drinker. Jonathan is more so a smoker, so he had not been drinking. He decided to drive to Auburn, but I wasn't drunk or anything like that. Like probably wasn't even tipsy. So we're gonna go get these cookies, and that's gonna be that. Now Auburn is about 15 minutes away from where we were. I went to school in Tuskegee, which is in Alabama, a really conservative place. So keep that in mind. And mind you, it's about a little bit past midnight when we decide to head out. So we get in the truck, and Jonathan's driving. Everything is cool. Like, he always had the dopest place, the dopest music. So we're vibing to the music. Everybody's chilling. Everything's cool. Now, we say, okay, let's stop by Little Italy's Pizza. So it's a pizza joint, not too far from Insomnia Cookie. We go to Little Italy's Pizza. We sit in there for about maybe like 15, 20 minutes. We get the pizza, and we're like, all right, we finna hit up Insomnia Cookie. We're in the car. We chilling. We go to Insomnia Cookie, right? We get our cookies. We get back in a truck because we're like, it's getting late. We don't really like to be out that late in Auburn. We get the cookies, we hit the road. Man, maybe like 3 minutes later, we see the sirens. The police signal us, they want us to pull over. So I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, okay, we just gonna stay calm. We just chilling. We did nothing wrong. So I'm like, at the end of the day, we did nothing wrong. I'm already keeping that in mind. So I see Jonathan starts to panic a little bit, and he reaches to the back seat. And at the time, I didn't really pay too much attention to it because my focus was primarily on remaining calm and trying to see how I was going to maneuver through the situation. That was my primary focus. So the officers come and flash their lights, and they ask him, they say, oh, let me see your license, registration. So he had all of that, and they said that their reason for pulling him over is, I think, because a tail light or something was out. I can't really remember. I think it was a tail light, something like that. So they go, do their thing. We're sitting there, and I noticed Jonathan's not saying anything, so I'm just sitting there chilling. I'm like, okay. I'm like, bro, we're gonna be straight. Just remain calm. We didn't do nothing wrong. And he wasn't saying anything, and I just attributed that to his nerves. I'm like, okay, he's probably just nervous. So they probably come back a few minutes later, and then they hit us with oh yeah, we're just gonna tell you guys, we smell weed, we smell marijuana, yada yada yada. So we're gonna have to take a look inside the vehicle. And honestly, I'm thinking to myself, why did they just say that for the rip? They probably just thought his license was suspended or something. They wasn't expecting him to be legit and have all his paperwork. So now they're like, oh, Now we have motor. We smell weed, by the way. Even though all this checks out, we smell weed. So now we need to search the vehicle. And in my mind, I wasn't tripping because I'm like, okay, obviously, you're like, okay. I knew he had been smoking, but I'm like, okay, they can't prove he was smoking. If they smell weed, like, no big deal. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So I noticed, like, Jonathan was, like, kind of tripping a little bit, but I'm like, okay, he's just nervous. You know what I'm saying? I'm just keep telling myself he's nervous. So they get us out the car. One officer walks us over to the police vehicle, and the other one searches, Jonathan's truck. So the other officer, he's just talking to us. He's like, okay, so what are you guys doing? Like, you guys in school? Because that's like a common thing in the area. We're like, yeah, da-da-da-da. I think Jonathan was doing mechanical engineering. And if not new here, I was doing chemical engineering. And this is our last year. So literally, the officer comes back over probably like after 5 minutes. He's like, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. So I did find some weed in the vehicle. And I need to know whose weed it belongs to, because if not, I'm going to have to charge both of you guys. So I look at Jonathan, and I'm just like in shock. So I'm looking at Jonathan, and he's not even looking at me. Like, I'm looking at him, he's paying me no attention, and he just looks frozen. And I'm like, man, this is crazy, because I wasn't expecting this at all. Like, I knew he smoked, but I did not think he would bring. The officer pulled, but man, it was probably like 6-7 G's. So I'm like, man, yo, the officer, he came back with all this weed. And I'm like, damn, I didn't know this dude had all this weed on him. And I didn't think he would be, like, honestly, foolish enough to bring it all the way to Auburn. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you from the area, you know how Auburn is, especially late at night. And if you black, you just don't do stuff like that. So I was confused, really, and I was just shocked. So I look at him, he's not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. So the officer says again, he looks at Jonathan, he says, we found the weed behind your seat, under your seat in the car. And he was like, so more than likely the weed belongs to you. Like, he says that to Jonathan. So he said, if you don't say anything, then we're gonna charge both of you. And then they looked at me and said, like, if you don't say anything. And in my mind, when I tell you, I was just so focused on like I just didn't want Jonathan to get in trouble. Like, I wasn't even thinking about myself at the time. I'm just like, okay, I don't want anything bad to happen. Like, I don't want him to go to jail. Because in my mind, I know it's his. And I'm not even, and at this point, I'm not even thinking about myself. I'm like, I don't want to be, I don't want to rat out on him. I don't want to throw him out to the wolves. I don't want to do this to him. I don't want to do that to him, I'm so focused on him, where I'm not even thinking about myself. And honestly, the situation could have turned out way worse than it did, because I think they didn't even charge us for what we should have been charged with. But at the end of the day, I noticed that Jonathan didn't say anything. Like, he wasn't thinking about me, he was thinking about himself. And, the officer asked him again, he said nothing. The officer asked me, I said nothing. So I wasn't even thinking about myself. And that just goes to show that, when you don't put yourself first, you can expect other people to put you first or consider you, because you're not even thinking about yourself. Like, I didn't even demonstrate any concern about myself. You know what I'm saying? And that, to me, it was a big moment for me, because this was one of my best friends, like my very best friends. We've been friends since freshman year, known him for years. Like, spent holidays with him and his family and stuff like that. Like, we were really tight. And I'm just like, okay. I didn't realize it until after, they had handcuffed us and everything. They handcuffed us, and I sat there, and as we were driving to the police station, it was one of the longest drives of my life. To be honest, honestly, the ride was probably 10-15 minutes, but it felt like longer than that, because I was thinking about so many things. And I was like, if it was my weed, I would never let any of my friends or somebody I care about go down for something I know I did, because I just couldn't stomach that. That's my responsibility. It's a lot, to go down here. You know what I'm saying? It's scary that I don't know what's going to happen. It's scary that I don't know the consequences. But for me, I'm like, it's even more scary to think that I will let somebody else take the fall for that. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that I care about, one of my close friends. You know what I'm saying? So I thought about that as I was sitting there, and I just looked at him, and he didn't look at me. He wasn't looking at me the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, this dude, he can't even face the fact of what he did. And we get to the police station, and you know, they put us in a cell and everything like that. But they end up letting us go. Like they, you know, give us our charges, tell us our court date and all that stuff, all the paperwork. They let us go, but mind you, we didn't have a ride because when they took the vehicle. Both of our phones were dead. They took the vehicle. So we leave the police station, and I'm so indifferent. Like I just leave the police station, and I feel so betrayed, and I feel so disappointed in myself because I'm like, man, I didn't even speak up for myself, you know? Like I didn't even care about myself, you know? I just, you know, the situation could have been way worse. I had worked so hard, you know, I'm a first gen college student. Like a lot of this, for the most part, I'm here by myself, you know, I'm in college by myself, you know, I'm supporting myself. And all that could have been jeopardized just because I didn't have the urge or the courage to, you know, speak up for myself or stick up for myself. I was so worried about the other person when the other person was worried about themselves. And this is someone who isn't first generation. This is someone who is from the town that our college is in. This is someone who has, you know, a legacy of college graduates in his family. You know, I mean, just tons of support from different backgrounds. And then there's me down there, you know, like alone by myself. And I didn't even think about all that. All that didn't register. I was just putting this person first. And it caused me to think, like, a lot of times in life, we put people first without thinking about ourselves from instinct, or it could be built off trauma, or just, it's just a lot of things we have to unlearn. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe, comment, and share it with someone who you think it can be of benefit to. Like I said, my name is Terrell, and here we focus on mind, soul, and body. If you would like to join our community, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, talk to you soon.